Cool, man.
all the stuff.
All the stuff.
Um, what what the hell did you just ask me that I said I don't know? Let's answer it on the show, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, about Matt, how all that stuff with Matt Farah and all that's going
Oh,
in the
it's great.
studio.
That's what's going
Cool.
on right now with the group chat. I'm gonna put us together here, and just we'll call this the beginning of the show.
Sweet, man.
How's
That
that?
works.
How's
That
that?
works.
Oh, I'm gonna see. This always bothers me. I'm gonna see if I can do this. I'll zoom in just a little bit here, make us more similar in size. I think. There we go. That's a little
There
better.
it is.
All right, what's up, brother?
Much. How are you? Good to see you,
No,
Jay.
I'm good. Oh, look at this. I didn't even do a card. That is a riot. I was, yeah, I started talking to you instead, and here we are, 5 o'clock, and we're on the show. That's
Totally
very
winging
funny.
it
Well,
today,
in that
man.
case, today is Tuesday, August 11th, I think, which is cool because it's an 11. And it's Tuesdays with Tory. Thank you for joining us here in the playset. Our buddy up here is Tory Alonso, and the stuff we're doing tonight is pretty exciting. Actually, I forgot to do this. Let's do this. That wasn't awkward even a little bit.
What's- we haven't talked in a while, so we're just like so excited to get to the talking part that's like, oh, forget the intro. But yeah,
I
gotta do
uh,
the intro.
I am very, very happy to see you. I am really, really happy to see you. I am very, very happy to see our friend at home. It was Thursday it hasn't even been a full week, but for some reason
No, it
in my
hasn't.
brain, I feel like it's been 2 weeks.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
we
what's
did
shaking with
Thursday
you? Let's
edition.
start there.
Not much, man. I've been talking to Ray a lot the last few days because they're setting up the exhibits at One Porsche Drive in the Heritage Gallery, and obviously my car got there okay, and it's all staged now, and we're getting his video to him so they can play the video in conjunction with the car being there, and Ray's set up this awesome little space where people can sit on these little leather benches and watch this video that we've been talking about all day, and
Have you seen it?
it's
Have
going
you
to be
seen the
really
layout and
cool.
everything?
I have, yeah. He showed me pictures. I haven't seen all the cars yet, but
Okay.
he showed me kind of where my car is at and like
Uh,
where in the Heritage Gallery it is, which is
e-
awesome. So
e- exactly. Our good friend Ray Schaefer was very, very nice to take a video and give us a nice little mini tour, a little sneak peek of the exhibit. However, because of how much material and assets are in the exhibit, there was some hoops to jump through before we could actually show it. So it didn't make it to tonight's air. However, I think it will end up being a good thing because it will allow him to show more things in the future. What I wanted to say, though, was I've seen where your car looks. I've seen the display, and I'm so excited for you.
awesome. I know I am too. It's an amazing space. Ray's expertise is really shined through with all of this, and there's a reason that Ray's in charge of the Heritage Gallery when you see it because his the lighting is amazing, and just the way he curates everything, and there's always this nice flow with the cars as you walk through the gallery, and it's really cool. I can't wait to. I'm gonna fly down eventually and go check it out in person once things kind of settle down or whatever. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be great. Gonna be
Good luck
great.
on the settle down of it all. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. It probably never will now.
Oh, I
This is
don't
the
know.
new
I hope
normal.
so too, but it just seems like every day crazier and crazier.
I know.
I will
Sucks.
say this, at the end of the show, sometimes I'll say like, "Oh, it's getting crazy out there" and stuff like that. That's true, and I mean all that. But another thing that I really want to recognize is that there seems to be a split for every bit that's crazy or every person that's a little on the edge or whatever. I do believe, or it seems to me at least out here, that there is also the counter side to it. The people who are warmer or more friendly or whatever are like much, much more so. So I'm
Right.
hoping that maybe in the end this thing balances out somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'm a
I
wishful
hope so.
thinker.
I'm the same way though. Like I'll kind of seek out like the stories on the internet that like people are doing good things and going above and beyond to try and counterbalance all the crazy shit that's going on right now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm kind of like a glass half full. Let's see where this goes.
Well, I should thank our friend at home for tuning in tonight and talk about what we're planning on doing. We are planning on, there's a few things happening tonight. One, perhaps most importantly, since we've already started talking about it, we are going to be doing the world premiere of the Old Soul short film that Mr. VW for Life, Tory Alonso, had a very, very big part in. I don't want to leave out the other parties, however, though. Do you want to recognize them later when we play it, or do you want to talk about it
Definitely,
now?
yeah, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it now. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have credits, we don't have to watch the credits. But yeah, just a quick shout out to Matthew Little, who helped kind of coordinate the whole thing. It was kind of his idea to do this. As soon as I got my car, he was like, "Let's do a video with this, and let's do a photo shoot at the track, and
Was he the
let's get all
actual
this done."
videographer and camera and photographer?
No, like Carl Nyquist was one of the camera guys. There was a couple other ones that helped as well. There was a drone operator. Matthew was kind of like the guy that put everything together and then just kind of trusted me to tell the story and bring my car out, and we went from there. And then I have to give a shout out to my friend Bob Hogue, who scored the entire thing. And when you hear it and watch it, you're gonna love it because the music is just unbelievable. My friend Bob lives in Phoenix, and he kind of does this for a living. He's a sound engineer and record producer, and he's kind of started to make a foray into the soundtrack and movie scoring world. So he was happy to help with this because there's not a lot of bands that are recording right now, obviously because of COVID. So he's like, hey, let me take a stab at this and let's see what we can do with it. So I'm excited for everyone to hear the music in it too because it's really cool. It's not just like we didn't just pull stuff from a catalog somewhere or
It's not canned production music. It's actually
no, it's
composed
all
for
like,
this.
yes, yeah, it's all kind of bespoke music, and yeah, it's cool. It's really neat. And that was fascinating to be a part of that too, because he'd come up with something and then he'd be like, what mood are you trying to convey here? And we were very in in sync as far as all of that was concerned. So it was nice because we worked well together, and I think the results will show that. So
Oh man,
excited
that's
for
so
everyone to hear it
cool.
and see it. Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. All right. Well, in addition to doing that in just a few minutes, we are also going to be doing a Hunziker giveaway. A giveaway from
Awesome.
our friends over at Hunziker Design, Nicholas Hunziker and Heather, of course. We've got a face mask. Actually, do
Awesome.
you want to? No, well, I'll just say we're going to do this in a little bit. How's that? We've got, of course, I've been wearing this one all the time because I don't know. It just, I think it's the one and the meatball, I guess,
It's
is
the
why I
one.
liked it. And the red, of course, goes with the yellow. There are tons. There are tons. There are tons. I don't want to say all of his designs, but some of his like really recognizable designs I notice are there, and then some just like famous Porsche designs. What is the one you brought up the other day? Was it the hippie, the
The
hippie
hippie,
car?
yeah, like the hippie 917 and the pink pig liveries. He's got some of those. He's got, some of the different interiors, the Pepita and the Pasha, and he's got some
Yeah.
really cool
I got
stuff.
the
Yeah.
Pasha right here, and I don't have the houndstooth anymore because Mrs. Ryan's wearing it all the time. Who is on assignment, by the way? I forgot to mention earlier. Um, uh, I just think they're really, really cool as far as designs. We have to wear masks these days. I mean, like literally, it's the law here. You have to wear a mask.
Right.
So why not get a cool one from a friend who you support? So shophunziker.com. And by the way, if you see somebody not wearing a mask, you say to them, "Hey, man, need a mask? shophunziker.com." There you go.
Exactly. That's great.
Oh, it's good stuff. And so we're going to be giving away one. And by the way, you get to choose. It's not one of these that have been sitting on my desk or on my face or Mrs. Ryan's face. You'll get to choose your own, and then they'll send you a nice fresh one. That's how
What if
how
they
that
want the
goes.
one that you've been wearing? It's like,
Not the one that I've
celebrity
been wearing. Yeah,
pre-owned.
there are. Yeah, aren't there are even later night websites that have previously worn items for sale, aren't there?
Yeah, I
On the
think they call
interweb.
that Craigslist and Facebook, like the used panty market is crazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness gracious! That I was trying
Yeah.
not to actually say the used
Well,
panty
come
market,
on,
but
man. I mean, we're all friends. We're all adults here. It's used panties.
did
They
you see
come
how
at a
late night
premium.
place that last night when they were talking about used panties for sale? Yeah, I thought that was supposed to be like Mr. Rogers that show. What the heck?
As the followers are dropping off as we speak.
No,
Or
I
actually, they
don't
may
think
be
so.
joining in. They may be like, "Oh, used
I think the
panties.
whole
Now you're
thing is a
talking. Now
riot.
you're speaking my language."
I think the whole thing is a riot. You know what I mean? Like this thing says I'm live, but I don't know how everything in YouTube changes every 2 days. So it's like this says, I don't know. It's stream help setup. Like I don't even know. I'm going to shut the whole thing, and we're going to have to give the damn things away on Instagram.
I'm glad you know all that because dude. I don't know that stuff.
I was just
I'm
saying
doing
I
good to
don't
get on
know it.
Instagram. Oh,
I'm just telling
you
you I
know it.
don't know it.
You know it better than I do, even though I'm doing good to get on Instagram.
Here, I'm going to show you what the hell I'm talking about here. I can't do anything because usually whatever's underneath this is what I need to get to, but I can't
Oh,
because you
weird.
close that can't won't let you do it. The only options are, oh, you have to start something. Like, oh, look at this. Like, start this shit. Like, all right,
See,
I'm going
that
to
looks
start that.
involved.
Built-in webcam recommended for first-time creators. I don't need a webcam. Streaming software required. Yes. You see what I mean? Like it's a whole.
So now is it gone?
I don't know.
Fine.
I don't know. I
Yeah, I
find
don't know
it.
how people deal with that.
This again feels very Tom Green to me, and I don't mind it. Hey, everybody, watch us while we figure this shit out. I know we've
Yeah,
been doing that for
exactly.
2 years, but hey,
Yeah.
what's one more night?
Yeah, exactly. The pursuit of perfection. That's funny.
Well, there's something about knowing you'll never hit perfection, but still aiming for that high mark.
Yeah.
It's unachievable. It's not even a real thing. It's wizardry.
It's
But
it's all
meanwhile,
in
you're
your
still
head.
always shooting for further than what seems possible.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess that maybe that's how we got to the moon in the end of this decade and the other things. Perhaps.
It's true
I
too.
was watching. Here you go. I was and we'll talk about the rest of the show and the other stuff in just a minute. But whatever. I was. Are you going down any rabbit holes this week? Is there anything new we should talk about that you're watching?
Let me think. This week, I watched the Netflix special on Immigration Nation. That was pretty interesting because it's kind of two-sided. Like you
Okay.
kind of see both sides of the issue, and that was pretty interesting. And I learned something that even if you served in the military, you can still be deported, which I think is kind of crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait. Well,
So
for
there
what
was
crime? Oh, you mean as
something
a
as
as
little
a
as
as a
like
non legal? Oh, whoa. That does
yeah, they
not
could just
seem
deport
right.
you. Yeah, I know, I
If
agree. Like if you
if you're putting
gave
your
your
life
life
on
to
the
the
line for the
country, yeah, and then you
yeah.
get pulled over for speeding or something, it can still deport you. Not cool. So yeah, I mean,
There's
at
something to be
first
said for following the rules. I get that, but like that's a tough one. I agree.
well, what surprised me is the fact that you can be here illegally yet still enlist with the military. Like you'd think that there'd be things that would be in place first to where you couldn't even get to that point that you could be a Marine if you don't even have papers or documentation or citizenship. I thought that was kind of strange, but
I'd
apparently
agree
you
with all that,
can.
but I'm always surprised when like, oh, drive when they want to like take driver's licenses away, and I was like, oh, well, how do you? Whatever. And I just think, well, it's there's obviously a lot about it I don't know, and I kind of come
Yeah,
down to that
yeah,
with most of the things. I think that everything is kind of it's made to seem like everything's very black and white. I'm pretty sure that every single thing is gray, just
yeah.
variant
It really
shades of
is.
gray.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a pretty interesting series. I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm on like episode 5 or 6 of it or something. But I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know about the whole immigration system. It was pretty interesting. Politics aside, I just thought it was kind of fascinating. Like what some people have to go through to get into the country, and then what other people do to get here illegally. And it's good. I mean, it's each
It's
episode's different. So
I was going to say yours is more timely than mine, but maybe with the Space Force announcement and everything else today, maybe it's the same. But my rabbit hole, not a rabbit hole, but I started watching an old miniseries that I loved a long time ago, and it's on the new HBO Max now,
oh, okay.
and it's all remastered. From the Earth to the Moon, the Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I never saw it,
Takes
but
place during the '60s, and the quest to that through the Apollo missions and everything from how they built the spacecraft. It really hits it from all the different angles, and then ultimately to, of course, the Apollo mission where they theoretically land on the moon. I don't want to tell you what happens, but it was in
yeah,
1969, so I feel like no spoilers.
yeah, exactly.
Eventually, we get to the
Spoiler
moon in
alert.
1969. But anyway, it's the production quality, production value in what they're shooting, of course, looks good, but just the storytelling and. If you liked Band of Brothers, I'm not really
Oh yeah, it was
a war guy, but I
fantastic.
know you love the World War II stuff. If you like
Yeah,
Band of
big
Brothers,
time.
it's very similar in the quality of storytelling, and
Cool,
but just
cool.
about the moon landing. So pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
So
Yep,
that's why I did the. We choose to go to the moon and do the other things. Whatever. That's where
that's
that came
cool.
from.
That's
JFK.
cool.
Although just as appropriate when it comes to equality and things like that,
It
Mr.
is.
JFK.
It's all kind of relevant.
Do you want to just jump into this film and get it out of the way and then talk about it after, or do you want to save it till the end? What do you want to do? I'm good
Let's
with
do it
anything.
now. I'm cool with playing it now, and then we can talk about it if there's anything that you're like, oh, how'd you do that, or what was your thought process here? Or,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
should tell everybody else too. Tell our friend at home at least that I have not seen this. I intentionally didn't see it, of course, because I wanted to watch it with you. Quite frankly, that's the truth.
aw,
I did. You had already seen it a million times, and Ray Schaefer's already seen it over at Porsche.
yeah.
And I thought, well, what's the difference if I see it now, 6 hours before? Why don't I just watch it with our friend at home,
Well, that's
and we can
cool.
all enjoy it together? So,
Sweet.
without further ado, I guess I present to you Old Soul. Is this presented by anyone at this point, or are we still waiting on that?
No, no, it's just us right now.
All right,
So I don't.
fantastic.
I
So
mean, I don't think many people have seen it outside of our little circle. So
I
yeah,
just meant I
it's
shouldn't be saying presented by
you'd think a
or
certain
anything like
company
that.
would be involved right now after you see it, but they haven't even seen it yet.
Well, you
So
know what then? I know that our rep from we have a rep over at Haggerty, Zach, whose name I don't remember right in front, but he's probably watching.
oh, cool.
And maybe that's somebody who will take a look at it and see,
Well, he
or
may
maybe get
like
it in the right
this.
person's hands or inbox, however that works. So anyway, without further ado, I present to you Old Soul, a VW for Life auto film.
Awesome.
Roll it, Hal.
I definitely consider myself an old soul. I tend to connect with stuff that is vintage.
Whoops, buddy. Sorry about that. I present to you now, without further ado, Old Soul.
I definitely consider myself an old soul.
I turned it down a little.
I tend to connect with stuff that is vintage. I was probably born 4 or 5 decades too late. It's not something you just hop in, turn a key, and you're off. But once you are in the car, you strap in, you click that steering wheel into place, you're rewarded with just this otherworldly driving experience. So this is one of 5 Porsche 906 race cars that was built specifically for the movie Ford v Ferrari. It actually played 2 different cars in the film, even though it was the same car. It was the number 15 blue and gray car for the Daytona race, and it also played the yellow and white number 32 car for the Le Mans race that you actually see at the end of the film. Like so many other people, I found myself in the theater last year just completely mesmerized by the film Ford v Ferrari. Right there on the big screen was the golden age of road racing being replayed in high definition on a 60-foot screen. And for 2.5 hours, I was transported to an era in motorsports I've only ever been able to dream about visiting. Through the internet and social media, I've since been able to connect with a lot of the folks who worked on the film. Guys like art directors, picture car people, stunt drivers. It was pretty evident after getting to know a lot of these guys that they were just as passionate about that era of racing as I am. Everything was shot with real cars and real drivers, and I think that's a lot of what made the film so pure. The Carrera 6 was a really important step in the evolution of the Ferdinand Piëch racing program of the late 60s. It was an evolution that would eventually culminate in the highly successful Porsche 917. Around 65 total 906s were built in 1966, and it kind of makes them a rare sight nowadays. It was the last of the street-legal prototype race cars that Porsche made, so it still had working turn signals and wipers. You could drive it on the street even though it was basically a race car. This car in particular was built to portray the original chassis number 906017 Carrera 6 prototype. That car actually competed and won its class in the 1966 Daytona 24 Continental Endurance race. It was driven by Hans Hermann and Herbert Linga, and it finished first in the 2-liter prototype class and actually finished 6th overall, which in itself is a pretty remarkable feat, given how much more displacement the cars like the Ford GT40s had over the Carrera 6. Probably one of the more surprising things that I learned in my research of the original car was that it only competed in the one race here in the US. After that, it was used as a test mule for the Targa Florio. It sustained major frame damage when it hit a sheep of all things on a country road, and sadly the car was deemed a write-off, and it was broken down for parts. Curiously enough, it was only just recently restored within the last decade from basically all the surviving pieces, and it now resides in a private collection in Europe. You know, as collectability and values of vintage race cars climb exponentially, the likelihood of experiencing something like that becomes less and less attainable to the average car enthusiast. Real Carrera 6s command $2 to $3 million nowadays, but if I can get 80 or 90% of that visceral 1960s experience from this film car, I'd call it a win. I'm generally pretty active on social media, especially Instagram. I love connecting with some of the younger fans who follow me just for this car, and it's fun to interact with them. Recently, I had a younger fan, one such fan, that reached out to me on Instagram, and he actually had built a replica of this car out of little bits of cardboard and Scotch tape and bendy straws. And I was completely blown away by his passion for this car and his enthusiasm to go to the trouble to build a replica of it out of cardboard. I just thought that was so cool. I was really moved by that. I feel like companies out there like Haggerty are really doing a great job crafting programs that raise awareness and help build that enthusiasm for the younger generation of car lovers. They have programs like teaching kids how to drive a manual gearbox. They have open house events where kids can experience everything from a Model T to a muscle car. It's a neat thing to be involved with and to see these kids really connecting with a car that was born, you know, generations before they were. As long as we're there to educate, I feel like there's always going to be a younger generation there that's eager to learn. Most of the heroes that I look up to now are either dead or in their 80s or 90s. Hans Hermann, Herbert Linga, Vic Elford. It was just a different generation back then. You know, they strapped into cars that required every ounce of skill and energy a driver had, and then some. You know, as a car guy, I think everybody kind of has in the back of their mind that we can't take these things with us when we pass away. In that respect, I feel like cars are kind of timeless. As long as you have a good custodian, someone that can take care of it, maintain it mechanically, a car can really outlast all of us. And that way, it's sort of a time machine. Cars are the one link I still have left to that generation. I sit behind the wheel, I close my eyes, and I'm right there in pit row at Daytona or Le Mans. And suddenly, it's 1966 all over again.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. It's so emotional. I'm gonna let it play while I wipe the tears.
That's
I'm not
all
joking,
Bob,
that was
man.
wonderful.
That is all Bob. That's it.
just lovely.
Wow,
Lovely.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
How does it feel?
I'm glad it's done. 8 minutes, man. It took a lot of hours to put that together. Just 8 minutes. It's crazy.
I bet, but it's so emotional. What a lovely journey. And I didn't realize, sure, it's about the car and Hollywood and all that stuff. It's really about you. And that to
Yeah,
me is wonderful. It
I
really
tried
let
to
us
make
in
it
a little
about.
bit on who you are and what you're all about. And I think that that is just brave, for one. I think it's bold. And I just salute you, sir. It makes me love you even more. That's
Well, thanks,
tough. I already
man.
love you a lot.
Oh, well, you know what? There's a reason that I connected so much with this car, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to like try and tell people like what it is about this car that kind of drove me to do the things I did with it and why I chose that car, and I don't know, it seemed like a cool story to tell, and these guys aren't going to be around much longer probably, and it's kind of my way to honor them, I guess. So.
I would like to definitely give credit to your whoever shot it. The shots were beautiful. Editorial, fantastic. Love some of the choices there. Some of them I saw coming, and some of them I didn't, which is very, very
Sweet.
cool.
Cool.
And yeah, the music is very touching, very
It
touching.
is. It
But it's
is.
all wrapped around you, sir.
Well, yeah, I guess, but it took a village, man. Took a village.
I
We had
think
fun
that's
doing it.
fantastic. The first couple minutes I actually put on Instagram before.
Oh, cool.
Doing it this way. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah. No, not at all.
And what I said was to comment below for a chance to win a Hunziker mask. So maybe maybe that'll work. I'm terrible at this stuff. We were gonna. I thought, oh, we could come up with a game and everything, but it's like that's so. It's if we had a audience or something like then that's fun, but it doesn't
Yeah.
really work in this given whatever how we're all living these days.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
So
Well, I'm
funny.
glad you liked it, Jay. I'm glad it's finally out there in the world, and people will be able to park their butt on the little leather bench and be sitting next to my car in the Heritage Gallery at one Porsche Drive and watch that video. Right there on the I think it's like a 40-inch flat screen that Ray's got set up there. It's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be neat.
To be able to watch the film sitting next to the car is
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool. Like, that's neat, neat, neat. Yeah,
And the
I'm
stuff of
excited.
that car on the racetrack, just watching it go past the red and whites and everything was so
Yeah,
cool.
we really lucked out having the track to ourselves that day. Well, it's a funny story. There was actually another guy that was supposed to be coming with an original Shelby GT350 Mustang, and which would have worked great because it was one of those in the Ford v Ferrari scene that my car was in at the Daytona race. And for whatever reason, he like totally flaked on us, and it didn't happen. But yeah, we were supposed to be mixing it up together on the racetrack, which would have been really cool. But for whatever
It,
reason, it didn't happen. So
it
it,
would
it
have
worked
been,
out
but
how
I
it was
like
supposed
this
to.
how it was. I like this as
Yeah,
a solo piece.
yeah, it was cool. And like kind of those drone shots at the end, I wanted to reserve some of the money shots for that last kind of emotional bit about time travel and all that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those drone shots are so epic because it is just the car and it's kind of a ghostly, serene scene. And yeah, it worked really well. Yeah, I hope
Oh, it's
people
so
dig it.
wild. I'm so happy to see it. I don't know. I'm just touched. It's everything I expected it to be, but I don't know why. I thought it would be more of. I didn't expect it to be so you centric, and that I think is why I'm so touched. I'm like, oh, it's a movie about my friend. Like you were in the
Yeah,
Bug documentary. It's not like about you. Your little segment is
right,
kind of about you and why you're drawn to Volkswagen and all the stuff. But
right.
this I don't know somehow this I feel like told us even more about you.
Yeah, it's a little personal.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, it's cool though. It was cool. We had a good time doing it, man. It was cool. It was a nice creative sort of side project to, get my mind off all the craziness going on and do something with my spare time that I have so much of lately.
Have
So,
right. Have you ever done one of those for the Mexican Bug taxi?
no, but I would love to. That would be really cool to do. That'd
Just
be a neat
saying.
story. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that we did get into it a little bit in the Bug movie, and that's
Hmm.
honestly like I think that's my favorite like little subplot of that entire documentary for some reason. It's weird, but like
Well,
The
there's
stuff that
this
he would.
happy movie about, oh, it's happy. Look at what a happy car and how people enjoy it. And then like then there's also this, what I mean, jokingly we call it sort of this Auschwitz moment for all of these
Yeah,
German Beatles. It's like a weird.
yeah,
There was a
yeah.
weird thing there where they were literally
I
just.
literally called it the Beetle Holocaust in one of my interviews, and Damon, the director, was like, "Yeah, I don't think we're gonna put that in there. We might offend some people." I was like, "But
I
it's
stumbled over
no."
it too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect like what happened with the real Holocaust, but I mean, this was literally like they were rounding these cars up and then sending them to the crusher. I mean, it was like kind of what happened with
Yeah.
these little Mexican taxis, and something we didn't say those exact words, but I mean, that's kind of what happened. But I'm super proud of that car. It's ironic because when we filmed the Bug movie, I had some pretty amazing cars. I mean, I had a '63 Bug that had 19,000 miles on it at the time. I had a Beetle that was sponsored by Skittles that was used in the La Carrera Panamericana back in the '90s. I had the original Herbie. I mean, the like best surviving Herbie out there. I had the Taxi. I mean, I had a lot of really cool cars that we filmed with.
Was
And of all
yours the
those
one that's
cars,
here now? I'm sorry to cut you off. Was your Herbie the one that's here in SoCal now, or no?
no, it's in Texas now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know
Sorry
which
to
one
cut
you're
you off.
thinking of. You're thinking the one that's at Galpin, right?
Yeah, Galpin
Yeah.
Autosport.
Yeah, that car is from Herbie Rides Again and Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, I believe.
It's got the
But
little
that's
light on it.
equally as original. Yeah, like it's a really, really nice car. Um, but of all those cars that we filmed with, the only one I have left from that time is the Taxi. And I drove it the other day and I love that car. Of all the cars that you would think I would have sold though, I mean, arguably the Taxi is worth the least out of all those other cars. Those are big ticket cars and
Isn't it
I
among the
just
rarest now though?
it
Because of
is. I mean, there's
because of the
yeah.
Holocaust?
Yeah, I mean, there's just none of them left. Nobody thought to save any of them. And I even went back to Mexico City a couple of years ago trying to find a maroon and gold one, which was like the iteration after the eco green ones that they had in Mexico City. And I literally could not find one that was like worth me going through all the trouble to bring it back across the border because they're just all the good ones are gone. It's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a pretty rare car. Not worth a lot, but it's rare. So I love it though. It's so much fun to drive.
Give me
Cool
weird
car.
and quirky over valuable any day of the week. I mean, as long
Yeah,
as it's
that's kind of
still
where
a
I'm at in
driver
my
and
life
stuff.
right now. Yeah, that's where I'm at in my life now too. Like value really doesn't mean anything to me. I like the story that goes behind it. I'm a
Story,
story guy.
sentimental, yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Sentimentality.
Yep. Yep. That's
I
it.
guess maybe I'm an old soul. Nobody's ever told me that.
I think you are. I really do. I mean, the way we talk about cars and how we're not like into the latest and greatest tech, I would definitely consider you an old soul as well.
I think it all depends on what you believe in, right? Like, like
Yeah.
it's the new late night playset. They talked about panties for sale and religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a
Exactly.
wild program we
Covered-
have here, folks.
Covered the whole gamut.
Yeah, no, I think it all depends on kind of what you believe, because I sort of believe that I've done this a bunch of times, at the very least, this isn't my first spin, and I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes I run into older people who just bank on their age as I know more than you, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
if this were both of our first spin, I would agree with you. But the way you're
Yeah.
acting now as a fucking 80-year-old man shows me this is maybe your first spin. I mean, it's not mine.
it's not mine.
It's definitely not
Exactly.
mine.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
with that, thought process. But maybe those are all just the lives we live within this one life. I don't know.
I don't know. Do you ever have an experience though where you're just like completely drawn to something where it's like, man, like I like, and you can't explain it. Like for me, it was well, I mean that obviously, yeah. I mean that's the biggie. But,
Long
like,
time ago, yeah.
It's weird because like
Took matters
when I'm
into my own
around-
hands.
Right. Yeah. When I'm around old airplanes, like World War II
Oh,
aircraft, like at my old job, like I just had this innate, like weird draw to them. Like I can't explain it. And I just like would get flooded with these weird emotions about these planes that I had never seen before. I mean, obviously I know what a B-17 is and a B-29, but when I'm like in one or got to fly on one or whatever, like I just had these weird, like, I don't know. It was just like
Not deja vu, but a
this
familiarity, right?
attraction. Yes, such a familiarity, such an attraction to it, and such a like a longing and like a sadness and just I'm a total believer in like old past lives and like wow, like was I on one of these at one point back, you know.
Can I tell you?
Weird.
You just shared some awesome stuff, and I feel like you've been Mr. Vulnerable today, telling us all about yourself. I have a friend. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but what you just said resonates with me really, really like a lot. I have a friend named Steve Straley. Steve Straley he's a childhood friend from home. He's one of my oldest friends ever. Met him when I was 16
Okay.
years old.
Mm-hmm.
And still probably one of my two or three best friends in the world. You know, you get two or three people.
Right.
Steve Straley owns a contracting company up in outside of New York called BDS Enterprises. He also happens to be the contractor who picked up this furniture from the museum for
Oh,
us and
cool.
put it into a shipping stuff and sent it across the country for us.
Awesome.
He and I are probably the closest of any two people I've ever met before, in just that I don't know anyone who knows more about me. We've shared more with each other than ever before because of this strange bond, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's my old war buddy, but we haven't been to war. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know of my friend. My friend a couple years ago told me that he's like, it took me a while to get here, but I've known for a long time that, I don't know if I don't want to be outing my friend, but he had these feelings that he was in World War II and that we were in World War II together and that we were fighter pilots to get, not in the
No
same
way.
plane, but we were like perhaps wingmen, no joke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we both, strangely in this lifetime, we both always thought that we would die early. I thought I would die at 26. He thought he would die at 35, I think, or before 35. Either way, we both had those like numbers burn it. And I'm kind of convinced based on I did not do any of the telling. He has the memories. He has all of this stuff in him. But the detail at which he can, like, he doesn't know, like, oh, we were on this plane together and I remember this time, whatever. But he just, much like you, there's something there that he swears is there. And I swear I believe him, so I believe it's there. And we think maybe we died in World War II, together or something.
Yeah.
At
I can
maybe
see
those
that.
ages. Maybe I was 26, maybe he was 35.
Yeah,
Some
that
weird
was
shit.
the ages. Yeah, that's why it's ingrained in you. Yeah.
I never had the memories and the feelings and the stuff that he did, but I do and did always have what you had when my dad brought me to air shows when I was a kid, and we would do that stuff. I was always into the World War II planes, the bombers
Yeah.
and the Mustangs and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just always drawn to it. So I don't know. I thought it was because of my grandfather was in World War II, and like he gave me his Purple Heart, one of his Purple Hearts as a kid. Like I thought it was all connected to that. But if my buddy here is right and there's something truth to it, like it's totally possible. Maybe we all knew each other in another lifetime. Why not?
Dude, I'm a firm believer in that stuff. And it's so weird, dude. I was driving in my thing the other day. I think it was when we were texting, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm out for a countryside drive," and there was a guy in a World War II trainer that literally like came out of nowhere. I saw
Buzzed
him
you?
like in the distance, and I could hear it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a radial. That's got to be like an AT-6 Texan trainer," and it was painted in like Navy colors, like World War II Navy colors with the stars and bars and stuff. And dude, I shit you not, like as I'm watching it, he banks over, makes like a left-hand turn, and he buzzed me at like 100 feet. And I was like waving out the top of the thing, like going. I mean, it made my day. Like I was losing my mind, but I was like,
That's
how weird
amazing.
is that?
But
Like
he
that is
obviously
so
saw you and
weird.
went for you.
Yeah, he must have. And we both just like it was just two random guys like enjoying their passions out in the country, and he like banked over and buzzed me, and I was like, that's priceless. That is so
The
freaking
likelihood
cool.
of you two ever intersecting again in this lifetime is very slim, right? But
Probably won't ever
you were at
happen
the right
again.
place at the right time to have that moment.
So cool. Yeah, I mean I was like at the time I was like, shit, I wish I'd had my phone out to where I could have even like captured that because it was so random and so cool. I mean, how
No, that
often
one
you
was
get
just for
buzzed
you.
by yeah,
That one
it
was
was.
just
It
for
was so
you.
weird. But yeah,
Sometimes,
I'm a firm believer in that.
do you ever have just the most, I mean, like, it's just something so unbelievable that you simply have to take a picture of it. And for whatever
Yeah,
reason, like,
otherwise no one
you
else will
just
believe me.
can't get it in time, whatever, or whatever.
Yeah.
I truly believe that that is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the big fish
just
that
for
got
you.
away.
Yeah, it's just for you. That's why. Like that's a moment that like, no, you don't have to share that with everyone else. That was for you. That wasn't for your Instagram audience. That was
Yep.
just for you. And you got it.
Absolutely.
And that's it's crazy. Trippy shit, man. But that was cool.
That's so neat.
So yeah, it
So
all
the
kinda
thing,
ties
yeah, I
together.
forgot about your thing. I love that thing.
Yeah, it's
Get a load
it's
of
a
this
fun
thing.
car. Yeah, get a load of this thing. Yeah, that's a fun car, man. It's a cool winter. I'm trying to get all my drives in with that car because that gets parked pretty soon because it's gonna start getting cold here again in the next month or so probably, and
No,
it's just
already? You got till October
yeah,
probably,
it's
right?
it's gonna start getting down in the 50s already. I saw, so yeah, it's
Holy crap. I thought it
dude.
was
If
like
it's
90
anything like
last week
last
there.
year, I know. Well, if it's anything like last year, it goes from like summer straight to winter. It was weird. We didn't really get much of a fall last year, so. And then like this
Wild.
year, it went pretty much from winter back to summer. We didn't really get much of a spring either. It was like cold, 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 80s.
Who the hell can
It's
keep
weird.
track of seasons?
I know.
If we had
Well, we
seasons to contend with too on the top of the rest of the show, I don't know how our friends back east are doing it. Shout out to the Roy family, by the way. Sarah Roy, Linda Roy, Mr. Roy, Luke and Todd, I guess, if we're doing that whole thing. But anyway, they've been out of power for like 7-8 days because of the hurricane or whatever the
oh yeah,
storm
that's
was that
right.
blew through there. And just all of our Tony from Telefunken, he didn't have power. Kaz, I think, had power at work but not at home, or home not at work. I can't remember.
Uh,
Crazy stuff. So
yeah, it
I
is
think
crazy
everything's just
stuff.
kind of fallen apart. I
Yeah,
think the poles are shifting. I think the magnetic, everything's going amok.
yeah,
I think it's the core. You know, the movie The Core. I think it's probably a little
yeah.
bit of The Day After Tomorrow. I think we watched 2012 the other day, so it's definitely that. It's pretty much everything but Independence Day and
Yeah, I know.
Armageddon. But I'm sure that those are incoming
Oh,
any
just wait.
moment.
2020 is not over yet.
Yeah, it's early.
Well, and then they were
You
saying
kidding?
they were talking about the San Andreas fault today. Like, I guess
Oh,
something,
that's the
some,
biggest one. Yeah, all
yeah,
these crazy microquakes along the Salton Sea
yeah,
out there. You can't see it here; it's a little further inland. But
yeah.
all these things they're saying, yeah, no, basically it's gonna die, and then it'll just kind of slide in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
And
say
then the
that
big
that
one
is
comes.
all any adult ever told me about California as a kid. Oh, one day it's gonna break off and slide into the ocean and float
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Do you think that could happen?
I don't think it would technically float away. No.
Well, I
It's
don't
not
think it
like
would float away, but I've seen those landslide videos where there was
oh, where it
earth
would
with a
crumble.
bunch of homes on it and everything else, and then it's ocean.
I could see parts of Malibu going into the ocean, but
Ooh, I think
yeah.
I think you're thinking smaller. I think they're right. I think
You
it
think
may
more?
actually happen.
You think more so? How far in do you think it would go?
Salton Sea, where
Holy shit,
Inland Empire,
really?
the 909 baby, Riverside.
Jeez, dude.
That's what
Crazy.
I think. Because it doesn't make sense otherwise. It's what we see as a cliff. That's a big cliff to you and me.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the
That's
Earth, it's
true.
like, nah, man, the crack's like 60
nothing.
miles that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Are you a good swimmer?
I used to be. I used to be a really good swimmer. Mrs. Ryan used to be a lifeguard too. We both used to be lifeguards. Different
Maybe
places, different
practice.
times.
Or get a bug, they float.
What? Oh,
I
that's
said, or
true.
get a bug, they
Have you
float.
ever tested that?
No, but I have hydroplanes and well, I mean, yeah, I guess I have. I was in a flash flood one time in Texas in my high school car and it literally floated. Like, I mean, I don't know how long it would have floated for. It's not like I've
Sure.
ever driven it into a pond, but
But were
yeah,
you like
yeah.
what, like in a parking lot or
Yeah,
across
it
the
was a
street?
parking lot. Yeah, it was a parking lot that had flooded out, but it was a really low, like low-lying area, and there was a flash flood that had come through, and I think there was like a little creek or something that had overrun, and like no one else in their regular cars could get across, and I was like, "Oh, hold my beer, I'll do this,"
Ah,
and it's weird because like
get
the
her
moment
done.
the moment I hit, like the steering wheel just went light, like, and I could spin it. I was like, "Oh shit, I'm literally floating," and then it floated and I remember I turned the engine off because I didn't want to suck any water in. And then once it got to the other side, I started the car back up, and then on it went. It's funny. There's all kinds of cool videos like Mexico City when it floods down there. They have these weird like underpasses basically, and they flood out. And you'll see all these cars that are like stopped, and then a bug just like powers through it and gets to the other side. They're great. They're like really they're like those thug life videos, where
Yeah.
they put like the
Nailed it.
glasses in the little stogie and yeah, and it's the bug. Yeah, yeah. It's
When
pretty
I
great.
was a kid, growing up in Connecticut, there is still a grocery shopping center in Darien, Connecticut called Good Wives Shopping Center. That's not a joke. It's the name of the effing shopping center. And it's not
Okay.
a last name. They mean Good Wives.
Right. Good
It's
wives go
dated for
shopping.
sure, but you'll
Yeah.
remember it from the original movie. Oh shoot, what's the name of it? Where they all Stepford Wives. Stepford
Oh, okay.
Wives. It's where they shopped in the Stepford Wives. That wasn't rebranded for the fucking movie. If they even show it in the
That's
movie, it's
hilarious.
truly
So
called
they
that.
it
It
shows that.
also,
That's
for our
funny.
car people, it's also where the Cannonball Run used to depart from before in the
Oh,
70s, in
wow.
the original
Uh-huh.
days, when that and
Before the
whatever it was
movie.
called after. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the movie, they it's not shot at the actual location. It's somewhere else. But in the movie, the name of the restaurant put on, like, you could tell they put it on like a signboard, like a marquee kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
They named it the real restaurant that was actually in Good Wives Shopping Center, though. It was called Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and it
Oh,
was
how funny.
green carpet, brass rail kind of a place,
Oh
like that
yeah.
sort of a deal, like a steakhousey kind of a place.
Yeah.
Dark, dark.
Yeah.
Men
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
drink there after work, that kind of place.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
dad's
Yeah.
office was right behind it. That's why I have all these stories. All of this stuff to tell you about this historic parking lot in Darien, Connecticut. It used to have a little deal here, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a, and sure enough, I grew up in a Beetle. My mom had a Super Beetle, and
Mm-hmm.
she floated right across that when it was
Yep.
flooded once, same as you, just driving, and oh, the grunt's
All of a
gone.
sudden, now we're
And
not
sure
driving.
enough,
Yeah.
did float straight across to the other side. I don't
Yep.
know how high the water, I don't know if the water were shaking, whatever, but on a flat, still surface, glided straight across like a raft.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the underbody, as long as it's not rusted out, you're not sucking water in, because you got holes under your battery tray.
But why
Yeah.
is
It's
it
just
different than a
basically
regular
a
car? Are the doors
flat
just
piece of
sealed
steel,
better?
basically. Yeah. And I mean, I think just the way that the body it mounts to the chassis, it's all just kind of airtight. I mean, when
Oh,
VWs were brand
interesting.
new, yeah, when
I see your
VWs were
point, because
brand
the
new,
engine's in the back, so there's no like
hmm
firewall holes in the front.
right? Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere that water's really going to get in. Everything was sealed. And when Volkswagens were brand new, they were so tight that you'd have to roll the window down a little bit to
Shut the
to
door.
shut the
I remember
door.
that.
You
Yeah.
know, and like you can always tell what a good restoration is on one of the ragtop Beetles, like the big sliding sunroof ones, because when you shut it, all the air goes out the top of the sunroof. Like the cover kind of puffs out a little bit, like when you shut the door. It's
Right.
hilarious. That's when you know it's all sealed up nice. So
Very separately, did you know that that BMW made one of those ragtop, just like the Beetle with the canvas? Did you know that they
I think
had
they
that
had
in
them
the
on
3
it.
Series for a bit?
Oh,
It
did
was
you?
a special order thing.
I didn't know you could get those on the 3 Series. I think the Izettas had those back in the day too. The
That makes sense
BMW's
for sure.
Izettas, yeah.
Well, I had the same shape roof as a Beetle, but
hmm
this there was a 318 Ti. Remember the Ti, that little
Oh
hatchbacky
yeah,
deal?
yeah, because it looked kind of
Like,
like the
not the
Corrado.
best
Yeah.
looking BMW ever.
No, 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 no. Yeah.
They had one of those at the motoring club the other day. Shout out to Michael Ripetti over at the motoring club. Love you and everything you do. This guy's so awesome. They had a going away party for Sid Pandy, our friend who's, because of the visa things in this country, unfortunately has to go back to Dubai permanently. He was a great Porsche guy in town. We were doing his goodbye, and there was this 318 Ti there, and it had like M3 lightweight wheels on it, and it had a
Oh
little bit of
wow.
trick to it. But more
hmm
importantly was the BMW factory ragtop. I think it was power,
That's cool.
but it
That's
looked
really cool.
exactly like what you would see on top of your old Beetle,
Right.
like
That
the
like
Herbie.
hearts stay fast kind of material, and yeah,
Yeah, and like
that's really
tracks,
cool.
tracks on the
Yeah, and it
sides
kind
with
of
like a little handle kind of
accordions
deal.
back. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
but
neat. That's really cool. I didn't know that you could get on newer BMWs.
in my mind, it's not very efficient. In my mind, it's not even watertight. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
not at all.
I
No.
saw
If you
those
go to one
old
of
ones,
those,
and it used to go right into the car.
oh yeah, if you go with the spray car wash with like the trigger nozzle thing, like that whole interior will be soaked if you hit it from the side. Like they're not good at all. Like they make noise. Yeah, unless you got pop out windows on a Beetle, when you have that sunroof back, you got this weird wind buffeting inside. Like you almost have to have the pop out windows in the back to like let
Yeah.
the airflow go through. Otherwise,
Oh,
it's a
right.
mess. But they look cool. Yeah,
They do look cool. They really do look cool. And when it's open, it's huge.
I know it's great. I'm actually
So
trying to
nice.
buy one right now on Facebook Marketplace.
What
This lady
year?
contacted me, and then now she's like ghosted me. It's over in Ohio. It's been sitting for forever,
What
but
year?
now she's like ghosted me. So it's a 1960 ceramic green. It's a cool car. I mean, it needs work, but I was like, well, it'd be something fun to work on over the winter. And now she's like completely like not messaging me back. And people on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are so flaky. I hate it. I don't know how anyone gets any transactions done there because it's just impossible. Like,
Do you
That's
find the
all.
internet's becoming more and more of a hostile bullshit place? I
It
find
is, and I'll tell you why. Like, I don't like I. It's all games now. Like, especially with these classified ads for cars. Like, because you'll see that, like, especially on Facebook Marketplace, they'll put like $1,500, and then you click on it, you're like, wow, that's like a good deal, and then you click on it, it's 15,000, but they put the real price in the actual ad, not the one. So it's like
right.
this
Oh, I made
total
a
bait and
mistake. Sorry about
switch
that. Clickbait.
bullshit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it wouldn't let me put the full price. I'm like, yeah, no, it does. Like, you're just being an
Yeah,
asshole and
that's right.
trying
Only
to
three
trick
digits.
everybody. Yeah, it's just like, but yeah, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I don't know. But like, yeah, I mean, that's how you buy a car nowadays. I mean, it's the days of like going through the countryside and finding cars sitting in barns and out in the field. Like those days are over. Like this is how you get cars now. You know, old cars you look on Facebook Marketplace, or I used to like the recycler. They had like the
Ah,
recycler, and
yeah.
in Texas we had the thrifty nickel, and the thrifty nickel would come out a certain day, and you'd want to be there right in the morning when the new ones would come out, and then
Do
it was
you
great.
this? You just brought back. You're describing how I got into racing my 944. The guy
Really?
who ran that magazine, the equivalent of that Penny Saver or the
Yeah.
Weekly
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Out here they call it the Penny Saver, I think, but we had something close to that recycler, and I can't remember. Kaz would probably know what it is. Anyway, the guy who did that was a gearhead, a motorhead. He was a Brit or an Australian, and I can't remember now because I was too young to know the difference at the time. And he would go to all the dealerships and get all of the whatever. He would go to all the used car
Oh yeah.
departments and blah 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 for his thing. So
Yep.
anyway, he came to Bob Sharp Nissan. It was Bob Sharp Nissan then, not Ferrari. I wish I worked at the Ferrari dealership. That was already gone. But Bob Sharp Nissan, and his name was Dave. I can't believe this is all coming back to me now. His name was Dave. He was super tall, like 6'6", 6'7". And he was the guy who was like, "Oh, you got a 944, mate. Mate, he might have been, maybe Australian. You got to come. You got to come to autocross." So he had me go. He literally talked me into autocross the same Saturday of the week he was there. Like on a Thursday, he's like, "Oh, you should come in 3 days, 2 days, or whatever." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm ready." I had my go-kart helmet with me. Stupid shit. But anyway, that same guy used to do like driving events and stuff, and he's the one who got me starting to go to Lime Rock and everything else. So
Oh,
that
how
was
cool.
that was why I started like doing any of that stuff. I remembered it from when I was a
Wow.
kid and everything, but that was the first time I was actually doing any of it. And it was the guy from what you're
The penny
talking about,
saver or the recycler
yeah.
or whatever it was. Oh, that's so
Well, I
cool.
can't remember what it was called, but the logo to it had Auto Trader. No, that's something else. But whatever the like the logo, the masthead was of a license plate. It was like a play on words and a license plate. And I just can't remember
No,
what
that's cool.
what
That's
the
really
heck
cool.
the thing was.
Yeah, in West Texas, like where I grew up, primarily out in Midland, Odessa, it was called a thrifty nickel. And so I would always, actually, for a while, like I would run a wanted ad in the thrifty nickel, like, buying old Volkswagens that are broke down, don't run, whatever. I mean, back then people would just like say, if you come tow it away, you can have it. And
Really?
so yeah, so
Just
my
tow it
dad,
away?
yeah, and so my dad, he worked at all these dealerships, and they would have what we called the bullpen in the back, which is where they put all that shitty like wholesale cars that weren't good enough to put on the used car lot. And so I would just stack these cars back in the bullpen, and then either flip them or fix them up a little bit and sell them or whatever else. Yeah, it's funny. I miss those days.
Yeah, the simplicity, right? The
Yeah, well, and
simplicity.
back before shows like, like American Pickers and stuff, now everybody thinks that their, Volkswagen bus is worth $150,000 because they saw Mike Wolf with one. So, all these car shows now, like everything's worth a fortune now. So
The car shows, I'll credit. I agree with you, but I put the blame on that Antiques Roadshow. They fucked it up
Oh
for
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Everybody thinks
they
they've got
did.
$1 million vase in the
I
attic.
know.
And by the way, some people do. So I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of a neat thing. I mean, shit doesn't end up in the landfill.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. We'll congratulate. It's probably Will for being the first comment of a couple comments on the thing there. So it's probably Will.
Is he
Will
our face
probably-
mask winner?
Yeah,
He will
hey,
probably have
Hunziker
a face
mask.
mask from Hunziker. That's awesome.
Will, please direct direct message us or your address on the Instagram there, and we will get it over to Hunziker. And which mask you want? Got to go to hunziker.com, shop Hunziker, and figure out which mask. Let us know, and we'll get it out to you. Good
Sweet.
stuff. Thanks. Thanks for
Awesome,
playing.
man.
That was
Yeah, that worked
fun
out
and
well.
easy if we did it that way. I don't know if I told you this a long time ago when Nicholas and Heather were nice enough to start having us place their wardrobe on us for the show and everything. We very, very briefly talked about, like giveaways or whatever. And I was just never really into it. Not because I didn't want to give stuff away. Who doesn't want to give stuff away? But I didn't, I know myself, and I didn't want to go ship stuff. There's not many things I like less than going to ship stuff. And I was like, really? You go ship a t-shirt every week? Like, are you crazy? It's not me.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is much easier. We just give your information to the Hunziker shop over there, and they'll get it out to you through wherever it actually comes from. It's probably not even them anymore. So much better
awesome.
system. Much easier.
Yeah, that works great. Hey,
my
how's the studio coming over there at the West Side car collector storage? Did I say
I'm
that
going to
right?
say overall quite good. Everything is good. The studio technically is built and together.
Nice.
They are starting to use it now this week. They did one just the other day. All right, I don't know how to tell you this in order. Yeah, I'll keep going this way, and then I'll back it up for something later for an announcement. They tried to do one the other day, and what happened to Zach is what happened to me one time, where like you don't have the board audio, you only have the iPhone audio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they did one with somebody the other day, and it's like it totally is great picture in the new space, but crappy audio because it's just like an iPhone sitting on a table in a room.
Gotcha.
So there are some bugs. There's some glitchiness with the app that is, it's not glitchiness. It's more like it's doing a tremendous amount of stuff for one little thing. So you have to kind of do things in a certain way, and that's definitely a learning curve. It was for me. So I think they're going through it too. So that's that side of things. The physical space is not done yet. We're waiting on some materials that are coming. That will be like, behind Matt, like basically the backdrop, like we have the skyline here and you have your nice bookcases. It'll be something else for Matt
cool.
that we're excited to put together. We think it'll look really, really cool. We think it'll be a little bit recording studio, but a little bit more modern and contemporary and just a little bit kind of hip. And if it comes together the way it does in my mind, it might be kind of like really hip and a little bit, like forward thinking, which is definitely what his place is over there. So it would fit together.
It would fit well.
As far as the quality, fit and finish of the whole joint, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The more time I spend there, the more I learn about it. Like his security system's up, and it's just everything is like the most amazing version of the most amazing thing you have seen of that application.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet.
So it's definitely really fun to have that as a place to go work right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're sort of wrapping it up once I think the art's done and everything. We'll call that a day. And we joked once the system was up and running, everything. I was like, Zach, you got the con. Like it's all you.
It's you.
But I can announce here that I'm going to be a guest on the Smoking Tire podcast tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. They asked me the other
Are you
day
really?
to be the first guest in the new studio, even though it wasn't quite
that's
done
so
yet.
cool.
And we were having technical issues like getting his TV and stuff. Not anything that we have control over, but just building stuff. The infrastructure from the building and mating it to our system. So anyway, we didn't end up. We all worked on that late instead of doing the show. But we're going to do it tomorrow, and it'll get released whenever they do that. But
Jay,
that'll definitely be good
congratulations. That's so
for all of
cool.
us. It's a very, very nice. Thank you to Zach and Matt for asking.
That's
Very
really
honored.
cool.
Very honored.
Oh man, I'm
I thought I'd
excited
have to
for you.
angle for it, you know what I mean? But no, they offered. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
that's cool, man. That's good karma.
And it'll be fun. It'll be really fun to talk about the space with them for
Yes.
a much larger audience.
Yeah.
Currently.
That's cool. That's cool. For now.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited about the whole thing. I got really excited when the lights went up, and then I got excited when the table went in, and then I got excited when like the mics all went live and stuff. Like there are different little stages as each like in a if this were a real production like we have going here, like there would be an audio department, a lighting department, a set department.
Oh, yeah.
All these different places have different departments. Sound is different from lighting, is different from camera, is different from grips and electric. every time one of those little departments would sort of get like a check, like, oh, we finished each one. It's I don't know. I get a little bit more excited, a little bit lighter, and a little bit like we're ready to show it to everybody. And I think that's where they are. They're ready to show it. They're starting already without it even being done. So they're definitely overdoing the, not overdoing, they're overdoing the home podcast, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm talking about all sorts of things. I was going to tell you that I think I'm a little bit nervous too. And apparently I am, because I don't know what the hell I just said or why I said most of it.
To do his show, or what are you nervous about?
Yeah.
You're a pro
To
at
be,
this.
to be a guest. To be a guest. I haven't done that in a little bit, and I think we might go live. I mean, like, being live to a large audience is new for me. You know, I mean, being live to 10, 20, 30 people is not a big deal. I'm sort of used to that at this point. But
I did Matt's podcast, The Smoking Tire, when we had the Bug movie out, and we were doing the press. We did the Adam Carolla show, and then we did the Smoking Tire, and it was really cool. It was at his old studio, though.
That's what I was going to ask. Was it the one above the dentist office that he talked about?
Correct. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
That's the one. Yep.
I never got to see that. And he said he and Zach were telling me that they used to do it at either, I don't know if they lived together. I think they all lived together at that point, probably like a bunch of bachelor kids. And I think they used to do it from their house. Mm-hmm. Sort of like we started.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's wild. Yep. I know you listen a lot to that show. Do you ever watch it? The Smoking Tire?
I watch it sometimes. Normally I'm listening to it in the car, but there have been times that I've had time, like, you know, at home to just actually like sit down in front of my computer or whatever, and I'll pull it up, and it's equally as good with the video, honestly. I mean, I'm sure much more so now with this new setup, but
well, what I was going to say is you know me, I don't listen to podcasts. I mean, I listened to like the first 10 minutes of that one of Spike Ferriston's Spike Car Radio with Zuckerman when they had the Letterman 944. They were talking about that auction.
yes. Yeah.
They didn't talk about the car for very long, and that was all and I was like here while I was building this studio. It was a couple years ago. Still the only podcast I've listened to. Don't even listen to ours. But I will watch shit on YouTube. So I watched the Spike Ferriston one, and I thought that Zach and Matt are great together. And I know that I'm the only one who's new to this. But they're very funny together. Like, they're really more like a couple comedians than a couple car guys, even though they know everything about cars.
Yeah.
So it's really, really enjoyable. I'm hoping that this new space and like the new cameras and just, you know, better lights and everything else, I'm hoping it gives them a chance to like really interact. Like, I think it will, if anything, it should help their on-air kind of thing. I don't know. I was wondering if I should, like, I don't really know what they do. I've only seen that one episode, and I think that's why I'm nervous. I'm like going on a big show that I'm excited to go on, but I don't really know that much about it. I know that I like Zach and Matt a lot now as people. I like them. I'm fond of both of them actually a lot now, more than I thought I'd be. But like the show, I still don't know the material that well.
Right.
I may be the dumb guy who doesn't know anything about cars. That's what I'm afraid of, you know?
Oh, no, I don't think it'll be like that. Because, I mean, honestly, you're probably going to talk more about audio equipment and, you know, geeky podcast stuff anyway.
Well, I guess, like, but then nobody will want to listen to that show because I think his audience is mainly car people.
I think now with how COVID is, I think a lot of people want some insight into how to set up their own thing. I think a lot of people are trying to get into this space. So,
well, I certainly hope so.
No.
Anyway, so shout out to Zach and Matt. Thank you very much. That's where I'll be tomorrow.
That's cool. I'm so excited for you. You're gonna have a blast. So you're gonna be the first guest with the new setup.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because they did one the other day, but it didn't the audio. I think they may still air it. I don't know. I don't know. But it's not. I don't think this is like the moon. I don't think this is Neil and Buzz fighting over the first steps on the lunar surface. You know.
Right.
I don't think it's quite that.
You're going to have fun, though. That'll be cool.
You know what? We didn't get to this at all, but I wanted to talk about, before we mentioned all of your cars and everything, and you have had Haggerty Insurance for a very long time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been with Haggerty for probably over a decade now. Yeah, I've had Haggerty for a long time. Yep.
We don't have Haggerty right now, and I'm now thinking that we should totally switch, especially in light of everything going on. But that's funny. I just took myself out of I was doing a little bit for you, and I took myself out of it. Anyway, the difference between men and boys is the coverage for their toys. Why am I saying that, Tory? I'm saying that because of St. Clair Insurance. St. Clair Insurance has coverage for your toys. Shout out to Jeff St. Clair and St. Clair Insurance. I'm going to... figure out ways to say that better, because right now I'm choking over it and I don't know why. If you have an RV, if you've got a boat, if you've got a collector car, if you've got a regular car, if you own a home, all the regular things that you get insurance for, absolutely. But then some of the things you don't necessarily, like jet skis, like campers. We talked about boats the other day. You're supposed to have insurance for your boat. That's like a thing. Somebody was like, "You don't need insurance for a boat." I was like, "Is it registered?" "Yeah, you do."
Yep, you sure do.
It was somebody who had, it wasn't a registered boat. So anyway, Sinclair Insurance, check them out, coverageforyourtoys.com. We highly, highly recommend it.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Very cool. Yeah, I love Haggerty.
Saint Clair Insurance. I keep saying Saint Clair, and I don't know why I'm doing that. Saint Clair.
Like Saint Martin. Like that's actually how it's pronounced. It's not Saint Martin when you go to Saint Martin. It's Saint Martin.
Is that why I'm doing that?
I don't know, but I was corrected when we started flying to Saint Martin, but it's not Saint Martin, it's Saint Martin. Same with every time I fly into Louisville, it's Louisville. Like
Louisville for sure.
Oh my God, I don't miss any
Well,
of that
you probably
shit.
get that in Balmer too, right? Balmer?
What's that?
Baltimore?
Oh, I've never heard Balmer. Mm-mm.
Oh, really?
No.
It might just be my grandfather who passed away.
Baltimore.
Balmer County?
Balmer County? That's funny.
Yeah,
no, I've
not.
never heard that.
Yeah, the Timor seems to go away. Anyway, I don't know. Did we cover all the stuff? I just realized we're over the hour. You got me talking about Smoking Tire. I probably got a little bit.
I guess. I'm like so
yammery.
excited that you're going on Smoking Tire now. That's so cool.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I would have told you sooner,
It's a
but
huge audience.
I didn't want to blow it.
No pressure.
Oh, what a jerk.
you'll
Thanks.
You'll be good. You'll be good. Whatever. You're such a natural.
It's one of those things. He asked me something. I had to drill. I still have to do it actually. I like drill a hole through the wall in a certain thing for certain thing in a certain place and stuff. And he asked me, he's like, "What's your confidence level?" And I was like, he goes, "Are you confident?" I was like, "Yeah." He was all the way across the building. And he was like, "That is the worst confidence I've ever." It's like, no, I'm confident in my abilities. I have no worries there. I didn't like my options for what I had to do. Like, you know what I mean? There were parameters to live between, and it's sort of the same thing. Like, I'm totally confident in myself and my ability to have a conversation with pretty much anybody, kids, adults, whatever. But when it comes down to the subject matter of what we're supposed to talk about, if I don't know that much about it, or I am the dumbest guy in the room, which I am with those guys about cars, it is intimidating. It's intimidating for me, and I think it will be. Like if I ever get to do spikes, I think it will be a little bit easier for me or if Spike's ever here, because we have other non-car related things that we could talk about that I'm very, very knowledgeable about.
Oh man, just your talk show stuff. Like I would love to hear you and Spike talk Letterman. Like I would listen to that for an hour.
That'd love to do it. I would love to do it. Spike Ferriston, please come here or please invite me there. I would love to do it if that'd
be a great
show. That's ever in the cards.
Yeah. I mean, it's only natural. I mean, Farrah's been at yours, and Zuckerman, and like Spike.
Well, you got a Zuckerman first. You booked that show.
I did, but Zuckerman.
That was awesome,
shit, man. You just gotta ask.
Awesome.
He's a cool dude. I love Paul.
It was one of my favorite interviews of all time, and not because I'm special, because of what he gave. He was so generous and so giving with both his knowledge, his information, and his personal
and just so
history.
Genuine. Just a genuine guy. I think so many people they hear this brash New Yorker lawyer, personal injury attorney on the show, but he's just a teddy bear, I love that guy. He's badass.
Showed both sides that day. It was super cool.
He did, yeah.
So generous.
He's a multifaceted man and a hell of a collector. He's got a great eye for cool cars.
Yeah, agreed. Thursday. We should talk about Thursday. We've got Andrew Florin coming over. Porsche's from Instagram. Our good friend Andrew.
Sweet.
He's been here before. He was here with his dad one time as well.
Yep, I remember that show. I watched that.
And he's just a super cool guy, and we see him frequently now because he's back on the West Coast, so he's able to come back in to see us. And he's
awesome,
a doctor.
Man.
He's a goddamn doctor. Cool. And he's going to come in and see us, and we'll be about this far. We distanced the chairs last time. I think everyone else noticed that. We did make them a little bit. We spread everything apart a little bit. You probably can't tell too much there, but it is true. So we'll probably talk a little bit about everything that's going on, and not because I want to get controversial about it, but I'm curious to know what somebody who goes to Cedars-Sinai to work every day knows and can recommend to the rest of us.
Yeah.
Let alone, oh my gosh, one of the biggest Porsche fan, Porsche file, Porsche families I've ever known. You remember the story with him and his dad, the car and everything? It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that was a good show. I remember watching that show with his dad.
All right, so cool. Andrew Florin on Thursday. I'm just
fun.
Going. I love you. Are we good? Did I
good.
skip anything? Did I forget anything?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything we were going to cover.
Check out the Porsche display if you happen to be down in Atlanta. Go down to Porsche and a One Porsche Drive Heritage Gallery. I think, is it by appointment? It's going to be open soon by appointment, or is it open to the public?
It's open now. If you do the drive, the driving experience or whatever, then that grants you permission, or it grants you access into the Heritage Gallery.
Beautiful.
You can get a tour through there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't think the restaurant's open yet.
356
I don't
Cafe.
think they're doing the sim. Yeah, I don't think they're doing the sim again yet, but I do know that they're doing the drive experiences. So if you do book a drive experience, you can get into the Heritage Gallery right now, and the display opens tomorrow.
So cool, man! Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you, not only for that and completing that beautiful car, but completing that wonderful film that we all got to enjoy earlier. And for sharing so much about yourself in that film with the audience and the world.
Well,
it's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Really proud of
you. It was fun to do, and there's a little bit of old soul in all of us, I feel like. So
with that, on behalf of Tory Alonso, myself, and Mrs. Ryan, who's on assignment, we love you. We love you at home. Thank you for spending time with us here in the playset. We're kind of figuring out what we're doing, but we're into a groove with this Tuesdays with Tory. I kind of don't want this to change. Whatever this is needs to keep evolving, if you're cool with that.
I am totally cool with that. Got nothing but time,
I really enjoy the laid back, I guess it's more podcasty probably, but I really enjoy just the catch up and everything. And then I think as we bring back the other days of shows and stuff, I think we'll get into like, having a guest, doing the long form stuff as well. Yeah. And maybe at some point expanding in other ways as well. So lots of things in the works behind the scenes.
Lots of things. It's just nice to be doing something in the meantime, because it's, guests in studio guests aren't the easiest to get right now, obviously. No. So
well, I love you, but I don't want this to change. Like, even when this is over and whatever, like we need to keep this up and make this into, maybe we'll add a guest, or I don't know what we'll do here. Whatever you want. In fact, I'd love for you to make it whatever you think it should be, and that way I can just fall in line.
I'm digging this, man. We'll figure it out. It's going the right direction.
We love you at home. Please love one another, and we will see you all next week for Tuesdays with Tory, Thursday with Andrew Florin.
Awesome. Have fun tomorrow.
Thanks, but and I'll be on the Smoking Tire. See, look at me, forgetting the business of it all. And of course, check out Smoking Tire tomorrow if it goes live, which I think it might tomorrow. Otherwise, in a couple days or whatever their schedule is. Talk to you soon. Love you at home.
See ya.